Hello and welcome to the Fanalytics YouTube channel. Today we'll be doing the FPO rundown for Game Week 9. Matt, how did you do?
Did pretty well. Did pretty well. But I think most people will have done well this week. I think Haaland's up to 82% ownership,
That's insane.
and if you've got him and you're not captaining him, Lord knows why, because it's a pretty simple set and forget
Yeah,
for Haaland at the moment.
he's a cheat code. He's this season's FPL cheat code, like Salah
Yeah,
in previous years. Let's first talk about my transfer last week. So I did Shaw to Reece James, and I was very happy with my choice. I was like, this can't go wrong. Not again for me. And again, I've lost 4 points on the board. I think long term it should be fine. I say with tears rolling down my eyes. Uh, but a bit disappointing because I was really on the cusp of just having Shaw and Trippier, and also with Newcastle, they conceded a goal. It just,
yeah. I
but
was I was gonna say I think it's probably the right decision long term to not double up on Newcastle. I think they have got some tricky games coming up in this run. Um, and you're right, this was very nearly a really painful transfer for you, because they were very, very close to getting a clean sheet here, Newcastle.
mhm,
I know as much because I had doubled up on Newcastle this week, and I had Trippier and Pope in goal.
yeah,
So that was almost another 8 points for me. But yeah, I think it's the Reece James experience.
it is. I'm ready for it. And yeah, it was weird because Trippier and Shaw both got the clean sheet, but other players didn't because they got off on the 82nd minute and then they scored 88th minute.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so damn. Let's see how you did with your wild card.
Yeah, I'm in the positive for this week. Post transfer, I think the difference is pretty much James Maddison
Hmm.
and his haul that he had. Because to be fair, there was quite a few players for me that didn't haul. There was quite a few 2 pointers in there.
Yep.
It's only really the Haaland captaincy and yeah, Maddison getting a big haul. That's close to like 70% of my points for this weekend. So, but this was a long term move. I think these guys are going to get good points over the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. First one will be Mighty. Or no, your team first. Let's talk about your. Now you can talk more in depth about where it went wrong, where it went right. Is there any point in your team you're thinking wasn't right to wildcard into?
I think the obvious one at the moment is Trent Alexander-Arnold, big time in the headlines. Um, Two reasons: he's not getting those attacking returns that he's known for, and Liverpool aren't getting the clean sheets. You feel when you bring him into the side that you've got that twofold kind of reason.
Hmm.
He's either going to get attacking returns, or you can rely on Liverpool in previous years anyway to get clean sheets as well. Unfortunately, at the moment, neither of those things is happening. So, uh, you're always going to look at the price tag, but I think the value I think I found in the rest of the team has at least kind of allowed me to to make room for an Alexander Arnold defensively.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel so beholden to him. I feel like I've got good points in the rest of the team. It's one of those situations where if it continues with Trent, then I at least have the option to move into a maybe Cancelo or one of those premium centre backs potentially as well.
Yeah, very true. In terms of like Mitrovic, any concern around him? Obviously, he was injured at international duty and then he came off in this game after 36 minutes. You still gonna hold him, maybe even put him on the
Yeah,
bench or
yeah. Hopefully I'm hoping that's a precaution. And looking at Fulham and the way they've played this season, Mitrovic is pretty crucial to the way they play. So it's not going to be one that Fulham are going to take their time bringing him back
hmm.
when they think he's sort of ready to go, even if it's only like 80%. I think he'll be back in the team,
Yeah.
and he's always going to carry a goal threat. He's always going to carry a goal threat when he's on the pitch. So I'm not too worried about that. Listen, worst case, he will sit on my bench for a couple of weeks. I'm not going to pivot too quickly out of him.
Mm-hmm. Are you kind of happy with your team still with the wild card? There's no regrets in anyone, or
No. I think 1 week is way too quick to judge these things. The Liverpool players are a long-term concern, just in the form that Liverpool have shown at the start of this season. But Diaz has made a fair few returns. It's obviously been quiet for Trent. He had that one game against Bournemouth, which is looking more and more like an aberration more than a return to form. But he scored last night against Rangers in the Champions League, so maybe that kickstarts something.
Yeah, it was a great free kick. And also, I like to point out with Diaz, he didn't even start, did he? I think he just
came off the bench. Yeah, so I was actually quite fortunate to get some points from him because it was, I think, Gordon as well started on the bench. Couldn't believe that one.
That's crazy.
He was my little wild card there.
Yeah.
My real wild card. The underrated guy and started on the bench. But I think Gordon's going to be an important player for Everton over the next few weeks. I'm still pretty confident in those guys.
Nice. Well, yeah, good 88 points. I wonder how many 8 points I got. 88 points.
Oh wow, look at that.
We talked about last week about how we got similar teams. I didn't really say we're going to be this similar. But yeah,
I'm just trying to think. It's that starting lineup.
Yeah.
There's what, four players different, I'm counting.
Yeah.
Edison. All right, Zaha wasn't in my starting lineup.
Yeah.
Zaha for Pereira for me.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, we're looking at four players, and those four ended up getting the same hauls for us.
Yeah. dead robbers, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my team, I think I echo your point about Trent. Obviously, I think I still have maybe 1 million in the bank as well, so it's not like he's like too much of an expensive player position for me at the moment. But his fixtures do turn around in game week 13. Liverpool do have Arsenal, then City, but then we do say in previous years Liverpool can score against anyone, right? So I'm still kind of hoping Trent see how he fits after the Rangers game. Is his kind of form going to pick up? So he's kind of like hold for now, but in the future I'm going to be really looking at him. In terms of the rest of the team, pretty much like your team. All happy with them. I can't, and then the one that really stands out is Trossard. 20 points, and I'm like, how was I meant to know? Maybe I should have known.
as soon as I checked in on that Liverpool game, I saw Trossard had scored 2 early goals.
Yeah.
And I thought back to our show, and I was like, I could have sworn Trossard was the first sub. And then I was going through the team. I was like, right, these guys are all going to play, right?
Yeah.
They better all play. Praying that sub didn't come in, because that's painful.
Yeah. I was even looking, like, I looked at Trent and Mitrovic, and they were both 0 points. I thought, maybe they didn't play. Maybe Trossard will come in. But obviously Trent played. Mitrovic got injured. But yeah, it's one of those weeks that I think even 100 times if I made a decision, I still would put Trossard on the bench and Zaha in the team. They were kind of the two guys going back and forth. Maybe Mitrovic injury, I should have taken that in consideration, but it's quite hard to say.
Yeah, it's hindsight, easy to say, but Trossard away at Liverpool, I don't care the Liverpool's form. It's so hard to overlook that. It's so hard to overlook the difficulty of that fixture. And Mitrovic at home to Newcastle, even a half-fit Mitrovic, you think, if he bags that goal, I'm going to be very annoyed, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just, I've had enough points left on the bench this season. I mean, it happens. It at least shows that you are picking the right players in the 15.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to have the odd painful week where this happens.
Very painful. Especially after the Shah transfer to James. Could have been 26 points difference. But
Yeah. Got a lot of those this season, haven't you?
yeah, maybe I should stop doing transfers. Maybe should we just stick to my guns? But yeah, this is how it is between three of us. Again, JC also got 88. This is not like some collusion between the team. It's still quite
Yeah,
close, only 16 points.
that is pretty incredible for us to all. And I know there's a bunch of players that we all have.
Yeah.
We all captained Haaland, so there's not too much differential going on. But the fact that outside of all the key players who seem to all haul for us, there's just a bunch of 2 points that we all had, just a variety of different 2-pointers, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's still close, which is the main takeaway between the three of us, which is rare. Can't remember it still being this close between, because it's not even just us three. The rest of the people in our mini league,
Yeah.
it's really close. It's just not spread out at all. I don't think I've ever seen it so close at this stage of the season.
Yeah, it's really clustered, and it's good to see. It's a good competitive league. Normally, like a few people like run away, and then other people stop playing, and then it's normally end of the season. You get the final two. But yeah, this season seems like it's gonna be a close pack. It's gonna be a good season to win.
Yeah, it perhaps maybe it points to potential kind of template sort of really being dominant in this season, but I don't know. I still don't feel that there is a template, especially since the kind of a lot of people have wildcarded. I know there's a lot of people are going to have the Madisons and Zahas just because of their
Fixtures, yeah.
runs, but I still think there's enough differentials. I still think there's decisions between Liverpool and Man City because people are still believing in the Liverpool guys. And I just think the way that things have played out with the strikers, I don't think you can be having Man City and Liverpool guys in defence.
Yeah, true.
I think majority of resources are going to the strikers so far this season, and so there's enough differential to keep things interesting.
Let's look at game week 10. I'm looking through these matches right now, and I've got a few eyes on obviously Arsenal Liverpool, big game. Liverpool not informed, but Liverpool always tricky against Arsenal. For some reason, I got this image in my head of Firmino scoring a brace at least.
Well, I have Vietnam flashbacks of Jota. He might just be a guy that if you've got the money, maybe just bring him in for a week. He loves scoring against Arsenal. He exists in my nightmares. But yeah, I mean that looks like a great game on paper. Certainly very watchable game, but tricky in fantasy terms.
Yeah,
that game because
could be cagey.
Typically you'd go with the Liverpool assets in that fixture, but Arsenal are a bit friskier this season. Liverpool aren't at their best so far this season, but you're still keeping in the back of your head that okay, this might be the week they turn it around. Though this might be the week they turn it around. So you aren't quite completely off the Liverpool train, I think.
No.
So, but fantasy wise, I mean, I think City. I mean, captaincy is not a decision at the moment. Let's face it.
No, everyone's gonna put.
Is it? I mean, unless he picks up a knock this week in the Champions League, he's going to be a captain. Chelsea at home to Wolves. You've brought in Reece James. That might normally I'd say, yep, that looks like a great fixture because Wolves, can't score to save their lives.
Well, he scored 3 goals.
You think caretaker managers sometimes they just get that little boost, right? That little turnaround. So, and then Chelsea still not sure what to make of them. So tricky set of fixtures, I think.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the Crystal Palace and Leeds one. That could either be really cagey or quite a goal fest, I would say, because Leeds don't really back down, and there'd be space for Crystal Palace's attacking quartet.
Leeds have run quite hot and cold this season. Last couple of games have been a bit iffy from Leeds.
Ever since the
And
break, really.
yeah, and Palace have played well in spurts this season, but obviously they need those runner games to get going now. They need to start getting points on the board. So yeah, that could be an interesting game.
And the last game I would say is Aston Villa and Forest. We talked last week about how Leicester City had to win against Forest, and they did in style 4-0. This is also
Yeah.
kind of like a Aston Villa, this is kind of like this is their time. If they're going to
Yeah.
score, they're going to have to score against them.
Forest feels like that game for a lot of teams, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a case of very stoppable force beats very movable object, right? So not one for the history books, I don't think.
No. Let's do some ones to watch. So I think the first one is yours, Matt. Tarkowski.
Yeah, and I suddenly became aware that I quite often pick against United with these. I think I picked Zaha against United before, which didn't really go. Actually, did that game even go ahead? I can't.
It
That
didn't
might
go
have
ahead,
been.
I think.
That was the cancelled week, so I never got proved wrong at least. But yeah, Tarkowski, I've got him in my team, so I have vested interest in this one to watch.
Wow.
But there's a few things that I really like about it. Number one, the Everton defense has been better than advertised. They currently have the best defense in the league, which I did not think I'd be saying. They 0.88 goals against per game. They're the only team that averages less than a goal conceded per game in the Premier League, including the big hitters like Arsenal and City. So I mean, something's going right there. On Merseyside, they've got Pickford back as well. He's got the second best save percentage in the Premier League. So again, it's a team that's really performing well defensively. And then you have the Tarkowski threat from set pieces. He has 3 shots on target, which admittedly is not too eyebrow raising as a standalone stat, but it does rank third amongst all Everton players.
Oh really?
So
oh wow.
In the limited threat that Everton admittedly do possess going forwards, a large part of it does come from set pieces. And Tarkowski's always going to be one. He was very good on set pieces, or getting on the end of set pieces for Burnley.
Yeah.
In his Burnley days. So it's just nice points. It's more Everton focused than United focused, I'd say, because even at Goodison Park, United at home's a tricky fixture for Everton.
Yeah. How come you chose Tarkowski instead of, let's say, Cody, Milenko, with the other right back?
Yeah, I was thinking of Everton defenders. I almost went with Pickford himself, just because of that save percentage. But it was the set piece threat that Tarkowski possessed that sort of drew me more towards it. It feels like it's going to be quite difficult most weeks really for Everton to score enough goals from open play, but particularly against the United defense, it's actually pretty good. They've shown themselves to be pretty good after that disastrous start. You can't read too much into City putting 6 past, and City put 6 past most teams if they turn up and play well. But it's I liked Tarkowski in this game. I'm hoping that he hauls for me.
Yeah, I quite like Everton as a pick as a whole, especially with the games they have coming up.
Yeah,
I would be a bit concerned. I don't think Man United can't score against Everton, and I think if I was looking through their matches, I don't know how many clean sheets they had. They might be not conceding a lot, but I don't think they've really got 2 clean sheets.
they've got 2 clean sheets. You're right. United could potentially just go off on one of those games where they just get. But I don't know what it is. This matchup just feels like one of those awkward ones for United. I looked at the way they played against Leicester and Southampton in those away games where they sort of got relatively early goals in those games,
Hmm.
and then sort of sat on those leads because they still. I don't think they're comfortable controlling games.
Not yet.
They're
Yeah.
much more comfortable in the counter attack. And Everton aren't going to play that game. Everton aren't going to sit there and control the game. So it's two teams that sort of
Don't want the ball.
like to gonna want to play that counter style. So you often it might not be a thrilling game to watch for the neutral, and I think it's going to be pretty low scoring.
It's a good pick. For me, I chose. I was in a few minds this week. I'll say what the other ones are, so then the next week I say, I was wrong. But I was between Skamaka, Anthony, and then Wilson. For Skamaka, I was going to choose him because I think he's facing, was it Fulham? No, wait. Is it West Ham and Fulham this week?
Can't remember. We only
Yeah.
just saw the fixtures, but
Yeah,
sounds about right.
yeah. I saw Fulham conceding most of their goals from a striker. I thought, if any chance that Skamaka's going to get some kind of goals, it's against Fulham. And then Anthony, I've been quite liking how he's playing. I want to see him against a low block. I know Ajax, he was very good at 1v1. But yeah, it's too early to say for me. So I've gone for Wilson. He's had 3 goals in 4 starts. Even with Isaac coming in, we can't forget about Wilson. He's got a good track record in the Premier League. Newcastle have the third highest XG, which kind of surprised me. So they aren't scoring all their chances. With Wilson, he's quite a prolific kind of poacher in the box. And with Brentford, they've conceded 12 goals, which is 15th in the Premier League. So the defense isn't the same as it was last season. They are scoring goals, to be fair. So maybe they are a bit more open, which allows Wilson to maybe creep in. And Isaac's still injured, so I think he might be, especially with Mitrovic might be injured. He might be a good swap into just for a few weeks.
Yeah, I like Callum Wilson. He's a pretty reliable goal scorer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a fantasy favourite of mine for a couple of years, to be honest. He's always someone I'm quite comfortable to pivot into, just because he doesn't ever seem to go on these really long droughts without scoring. True, he's not someone that's just going to blast in like 4 or 5 over a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I just think he'll get you a steady stream of goals, and I think you're right about Brentford. They're there for the taking. Yeah, I think that's a good pick. Isaac's not quite back yet, is he?
No, I think he's still injured for another, I want to say 1 week or 2 week.
So yeah, so he should get the start as well. Yeah, I like that pick, and Anthony up against Tarkovsky. I don't think so.
That would have been a fun one if I chose that.
Head to head, yeah.
Yep. So this is my transfer this week. It's look at Scott Carson's picture. It cracks me up.
I know. I mean, who signed off on that? Or is it just like he must have been like last one in? The photographer's done like 39 pictures or something in a row, and he's like, "Yeah, that'll do. That'll do."
Yeah, he looks like he doesn't want to play anymore. He's just there for the paycheck. So I thought I can't have that kind of attitude on my team. And also, stupidly, I don't know why I even put him in the first chance, because he's taking a third Man City spot, which I'll probably need in the future. So I've gone for Gaita. It's more for game week 12 because I have Edison. So Edison comes to the bench. Gaita has, I think, Crystal Palace have Wolves, or they have some kind of favourable fixture, and he's a good backup goalkeeper because Crystal Palace have some good games. And another transfer closer to your team.
Yeah, because I've got Gaita as my back. Oh god, yeah. That's what, 10 players now?
Yeah,
across the whole squad. Bloody hell. But yeah, you're right about the Palace have got decent fixtures. He's someone who, because Newcastle I've got Pope, and I think there's 1 or 2 weeks where Newcastle are going to have some tough ones. So I'll probably pivot into Gaeta in those weeks. Yeah, I'm not sure what Scott Carson was doing in that side to begin with, to be honest, mate.
It was an easy transfer to make this week. Let's go on to your transfers.
Nothing.
Lovely.
Once again, I'm perfect. I've made great decisions. I've planned ahead. There is nothing to address.
Amazing. So do you have a plan for the week after
No,
surgery, or no, just
I think
saving?
what this is more. This is just there's nothing pressing right now. Let's stack that transfer,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe if I need to get funky in a week or two's time, then I can do that with that extra transfer. Because for me, the only thing is the long term view of Trent.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm really looking at right now, and that's a decision for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, next week will be an interesting one. Template probably going to go strong. But we wish you green arrows. See you later.
See you later, guys.